Hello and welcome to PACTV Community News.
I'm Donna Rodriguez filling in for Kim Mio this week. And this week on PACTV Community News, we bring you to the Pembroke Elementary School Science Fair.
I always love it because you can always tell that the interest comes from the kids.
And we meet an amazing international hero from Duxbury.
The school where it's built is the first girls' school ever in this community that has 7 villages. And right now, I have about 400 girls.
PACTV Community News brings you an update from town officials on Plymouth's solid waste proposals.
It's going to be interesting to see where the community goes. We have made some assumptions, and many of you have heard about that.
And we visit an exciting derby car race in Kingston.
It's a good event, it's a fun event. A lot of the PAC participates, and it's very exciting.
We also have a couple of stories about flying, both large and small local aircraft, in our Culture and Lifestyle series.
The camaraderie in this hobby is unmatched to any other hobby that I've ever been in.
But I've got to tell you, I take just 2 or 3 seconds when the wheels lift off the ground and the ground falls away, that you get just a little tingle.
It's all coming up on PACTV Community News. Solid waste has been a big topic in Plymouth this year. Town officials have held public forums, spoken to several community groups, and examined the options based on community input. Town officials have made a decision about how to handle solid waste, and PACTV Community News met up with Town Manager Melissa Origi to find out more.
The Board of Selectmen has made a decision on how we are going to deal with our solid waste, our rubbish, in the town of Plymouth. After a long, protracted process, we saw that the residents of this town really wanted choices. They didn't want to be forced into just curbside pickup, and many didn't want to continue to go to transfer stations, especially with the inevitability of South Street, the largest transfer station and probably the most convenient for many for location, closing. So we were able to give a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen that said we can do both. We can leave one transfer station open. You will have to go to Manomet. And we can also do a curbside pickup. So let's talk about the cost for the average person. If you decide to go with curbside pickup, the cost would be about $73 a year. And for that $73, you would get 2 carts. One would hold your rubbish that would be picked up every week, and a large one would hold all your recycling, and that would go out every other week and be picked up. But in addition to that $73, you also have to buy certain bags. Pay-as-you-throw bags. The reason that you buy these special bags is because somebody that's an excellent recycler, maybe somebody that lives alone, is going to use far fewer bags than maybe a larger family that throws out more and recycles less. So it provides a certain equity that people like. So for example, I was just speaking to the reporter here today, and she was saying that she really only generates a bag of rubbish a week and probably could do less than that. So let's say she recycles more and uses just that one special bag every other week. That bag right now is about $1.25. So that would cost her $30 a year in special bags that she would put into that curbside pickup container that would be picked up every week, and then that $73 flat fee. So now for a little over $100 a year, she is doing a ton of recycling and she's getting rid of her rubbish. That's excellent. It does 2 things that this town really needs to do. We have to improve our recycling rate, not just for the environment, but because the residents are being charged, or the residents using the service are being charged a lot of money to get rid of that trash. That doesn't stay here in Plymouth, that goes to another facility, and they charge us dearly for that. Our price so far has been very good, but we know that's going to increase to more of a market rate come January 1, 2015, which is right around the corner. And also it reduces that overall tonnage and increases the recycling. I think I said both of those, but they're both important. So this curbside option will do that. Now let's say you're one of those residents, and we saw many of you that came out at our public sessions that did not want to go curbside pickup, that really want to still go to the transfer station. For the first year, we'll keep all 3 transfer stations open for the first 6 months. so that you'll still be able to go to South Street or Manomet or Cedarville with your special bags that you will purchase, and then all those individual containers, because you will still have to separate out your cardboard and your paper and your plastics and so forth. And you will go down to any of the 3 transfer stations for the first 6 months. But after that first 6 months, we'll be closing 2 of those, and you will just have Manomet available. So for you, you will pay a fee of about $48 a year just to go to these transfer stations, and eventually just 1 transfer station. And then you too will have to buy bags at $1.25 a bag. So let's use the same example I talked about earlier. You may spend about $30 a year on bags if you are very good. That's having 1 bag of rubbish every 2 weeks. So you'd really only be going to the transfer station with your rubbish. You'd be making 1 trip every 2 weeks. And then you pay this flat fee of $48. So you're getting rid of your rubbish and your recycling for about $78. But keep in mind, you still have to have all those separate containers, and now you have to drive to Manomet the second half of the year. It's going to be interesting to see where the community goes. We have made some assumptions, and many of you have heard about that. We think in the first year there'll be about 10,000 users that will decide, I want curbside, it's convenient, that's what I want to do. And we think there'll be another group that will continue with the transfer stations. We do suspect after a while that may decline, the use of the transfer station, mostly because that's the history we've seen here over the last few years. More and more people are going to some kind of private hauler or getting rid of their rubbish in another way. So that's the solid waste that we'll be presenting at the Springtown meeting. I'm pleased to see Plymouth has made a decision. We still have work to do. We have to convince town meeting at the caucuses that for a community of this size, choices are the way that you want to go. Unless we start reducing that tonnage and increasing the recycling, we're not helping the environment, we're not saving money, and those are 2 things that we need to do.
Duxbury is home to an incredibly dynamic woman. Rajia John runs a school for Afghan girls in Kabul called the Zabuli Education Center, where over 350 area girls are receiving a free education. She's received national and international recognition for her work, and PACTV Community News was able to meet up with her in Duxbury to learn more about her and her work.
Razia, you know, of all the things I've read about you, I haven't really heard much about your background. I know you were born in Afghanistan.
Yes.
And tell us when you came over and what you did when you first came over here.
Yes, I was born in Afghanistan, and I went to school there, and then I came for university studies here in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And after living in Cambridge for 9 years, I did my master's, and then I came to South Shore due to personal reasons. I stayed here. And still I'm here, although most of the time a year I'm out of the country because I have opened a girls' school in Afghanistan in 2008. So I've been living in Afghanistan at the moment, but I do come here and I visit here. And I think Duxbury has been the greatest supporter of my project and myself.
And I know you're a member of the Rotary here and president. Tell us a little about that.
Yes, I've been over 25 years. I've been a Rotary member, and I think it's the greatest organization in the world. And I think Duxbury, although we are a very small club, but we've done a lot of good things for the community, and continuously we try to work with the community. And also for our international project, we had chosen Afghanistan in 2004 to really get money together to build a school there for girls. And the school where it's built is the first girls' school ever in this community that has 7 villages. And right now I have about 400 girls going to school there.
And the interesting thing, a lot of people don't know that you were the CNN Final 10 award winner hero of the world last year, which is a fantastic honor.
I think it is. I think CNN has done this for now 5-6 years, and we were chosen. 10 of us were chosen out of 40,000 nominees, and to be honored, to have that honor, and to be recognized for your work, how small it is. And it's really one person's affair, and for them to recognize and see really what a difference it's making in the life of a small community, small, the women that are most oppressed in that country and most mistreated in that country. So this is just a great honor to be recognized, and that has changed a lot of our work with my community, Duxbury's blessing. We are just building the 3rd floor with 8 classrooms.
I heard about that, yeah.
Yes, and that is like really a great help for us to continue to be a high school there.
I hear there's a rumor that there's going to be a documentary produced on the school. Is that correct?
Yes, I think there is a documentary that we had a small version of it in 2009.
Okay.
But I think they're coming back this year, actually in a couple of weeks, and they will stay there for maybe month and a half, and they will have a bigger version of really what we have accomplished in 6 years.
A local Scout Pack held its annual Pinewood Derby at the Independence Mall in Kingston earlier this month, which included a 40-foot track with computerized digital timing system. The event had over 50 racers who put in numerous hours with designing, building, and planning this one-of-a-kind event. PACTV Community News was there to bring you all the excitement.
Ready, set, go! The Pinewood Derby is a race that the boys take a block of wood. There's different rules and regulations, and they work with their parents and or guardians, and they build the best race car that they can. It has to be under 5 ounces. They paint it up, they decorate it, and we run a bunch of heats and see who wins. It's a good event, it's a fun event. A lot of the pack participates, and it's very exciting. Get set, go! It can teach kids a competition. It teaches to be a good sports, because obviously not everyone can be a winner. It teaches the children responsibility, because they have to have their cars in by a certain time, a weigh-in date, 1 week before the race, to make sure that it weighs correct and make sure that all the specifications are correct. It also it incorporates or it promotes family time in order to work with either mom or dad or grandma or grandpa to build something special that they can keep for years to come.
So mine's in this race again. Mine is too.
We don't have a meeting place that is large enough for this track, and so after looking at a couple of venues, actually Mr. Dan Demers, the previous Cub Master, was able to arrange having it every year at the mall. And with the help of the Independence Mall, we're able to do it every year. See Robbie Peterson, first place Tiger!
My dad helped me paint it, and I did the first layer of black, and then he did the other two.
It's a good way to promote Cub Scouting to the general public and to show people what we do. On your mark! Get set!
It feels good. I really like it. It's my first year in Boy Scouts, and I like it.
Pembroke Elementary School held its annual science fair earlier this month. The projects were interesting and well thought out. Hundreds of youth participated, and prizes were awarded for each grade. PACTV Community News attended the fair to see a few projects up close and learn about their creators and the administrators behind this creative scientific event.
Well, for my project, I did this spectacular slotted spoon, and it's a spoon, and it can help you if you don't really like milk in your cereal or you don't like the broth in soup. So it has holes in it so that it can drain the liquids from the food. A lot of people seemed interested in it and were saying about how they didn't like milk in their cereal or how they didn't like broth in their soup.
Do you like milk in your cereal?
Not really. I can eat it, but I don't really like it. I save it for my cats. That's why I got the idea for this, because I save milk for my cats. Down here, I'm giving out spoons, and you can try it if you want, see how it works.
It's a science fair that we run for kindergarten through 6th graders here in Pembroke. Any student, in the school system or in other schools or whatever in Pembroke can join in. So we've got about 75 kids this year. Other years we've had even more.
I melted down soy wax and I cut and drilled holes in a pencil to keep the matches together.
We were doing a test on people so people could tell us what they were tasting from the drink.
It is. They impress me every year. Some of the projects are fantastic. There's one over there that where the kid has sugared sodas and he's floating them in a tank of water to show how heavy the sugar in the soda is and how much sugar you'd ingest over the course of a year. Just really interesting stuff. And I always love it because you can always tell that the interest comes from the kids. And they just pour that into it. And the amount of information that they come up with is just really impressive.
We did our project on eyeball examination.
Did we catch your eye? Now, there are several different parts of the eye. The main parts you see here is the sclera, the iris, the pupil, and the eyelid. Now, the eyelid is responsible for protecting your eye from dust, wind, or other debris. Now, the iris, which you see here, is a flat, colored, ring-shaped membrane behind the cornea with an adjustable circular opening in the center.
It's all voluntary. It really isn't even associated with the school that much. There are some teachers that support it and will give the kids extra credit, encourage kids to do it in school, or some teachers over the years have even stayed after to offer some extra help if a kid wants it. But for the most part, this is all stuff that they're doing on their own at home and then come and bring down to us.
We took a black bowl and then we spray painted it white. Then we took a small green ball and then cut it in half and put it on top of the bowl using adhesive tape.
We have a lot of student volunteers, both from the junior high and from the high school. We have kids in the high school band who come and entertain while we're doing all of the tallying. We have junior high students that are helping run judges' score sheets to over to the tallying, and just a lot of kids that have started out in the fair and then come back and volunteer for us every year. We love having them too.
As part of our Culture and Lifestyle series, PACTV Community News brings you another story about flying from Plymouth Airport.
Plymouth Houston runway 24, left traffic, runway 24 at Plymouth. We're a town-owned airport. We actually have about 700 acres. We're in the towns of Plymouth and Carver. And we're a general aviation airport. There's no actual commercial service here. And a lot of people might not realize exactly what that means, but it means that there's a lot of diversity here in terms of aviation resources. And the residents of Plymouth and Carver should be really proud of what is here. There's a lot of public service going on here that they might not know about. Boston Med Flight is based here, so they do a number of flights a day. The State Police Air Wing is also based here. They have a number of helicopters. They do a lot of search and rescue missions. Plymouth County actually has a fire plane, which I'm sure a lot of residents don't realize. And the plane goes up, and it actually, if it's in a forest, they'll actually radio the fire trucks and try and help them locate the fire. There's about 150 aircraft based here. There's about 47 buildings, so that sort of helps the tax base. About 200 plus jobs.
I started Alpha One a long time ago with the idea that I wanted to bring aviation to the people of Plymouth. We have moms and dads, we have grandfathers and grandmothers. You come down with the idea that you want to learn to fly, and let us teach you.
Clear. I always loved to fly. And I just love airplanes. I love coming to the airport. I love talking to the people who fly airplanes. I own a Cherokee 180 that we're in right now. I learned how to fly when I was 50 years old. Kept driving by the airport and said the Learn to Fly sign was out. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do that.
But what can you do with your license when you're done? You can fly all over the world, actually, because your license here in the United States is good in a lot of different places.
New England is such a wonderful place, and Plymouth is great, but you can fly to Martha's Vineyard or Nantucket or Fitchburg or up to Maine in an airplane like this in much less than an hour, and have a wonderful day with your family. With 4 people here in the plane, you can just go and have fun.
The idea of learning to fly starts with a ground school and a first flight. They do the entire flight. If they're with an experienced instructor like we have here at Alpha One, they'll do the taxi, the takeoff, fly all around, fly over their house, climb and change altitudes, get to see Boston if the weather's good, get to see the Cape and the islands and Provincetown, and then they'll return back to the airport and execute a landing with the assistance of their flight instructor.
The licensing process is complex, but necessarily so. And pilots themselves have to have recurrent training every 2 years. You have to fly with an instructor. They have to make sure you still have your stuff. And you have to have a medical exam every couple of years too. So the pilots are well conditioned to what they have to do. Safety it's all about safety.
This is a very typical airplane we use in training pilots. Airplanes are different than cars because almost every single airplane that's built has a dual set of controls. These controls are actually linked directly by a bicycle chain, and you can see the controls work together, including the controls on the floor. And the idea of that is that a flight instructor can recover or adjust or manipulate the controls at any point in time throughout the instruction process. The second exam occurs about midway through the training process, which is a written exam issued by the FAA. It's done on a computer. It's very simple. There's plenty of preparation for that. Then the final exam is a 2-part exam at the very end. We set them up with a designated examiner, an FAA examiner. And once that's accomplished, they're a licensed pilot. It takes about a year, maybe a little less, maybe a little more in some cases. The greatest opportunity that we have is to connect people with their passion. And for some people, flying is their passion, and they don't even know until they walk in the door, and they really, really love it.
One of the things pilots love to do is talk about their $100 hamburger experiences. It simply means that you jump in an airplane like this and you fly someplace fun, like perhaps Sanford, Maine, or Fitchburg, Mass, or down to the islands, and you go there for the sole purpose of having a hamburger. So you pay $5 for the hamburger and about $95 to run the plane back and forth. So there's our $100 hamburger, but it's something to do. It's something to do with friends, and it's always a lot of fun.
One of the nice things about this airport compared to a lot of the larger airports is it's still somewhere where kids can come and actually be like, whoa, and see planes and get close to them, and we do a lot of tours. What a lot of people might not realize is that they can actually come out here, and we have a couple of operators, one fixed wing airplanes and helicopters, where you can go on a photo flight or take a scenic flight or even just take an introductory flight just to see, whether it's something that you would like to pursue or not. So if anybody would like to come out and learn more about the airport and what we do and the great resources this is for the community, we'd be thrilled to show them.
There's a poem by Leonardo da Vinci, who of course was the great Italian inventor and had a passion for flight himself. For once you have tasted flight, you will forever walk the earth with your eyes turned upward, for there you have been, and there you will always long to be. And that's really kind of how pilots feel. You know, on takeoff, we have all sorts of things to think about. You've got to make sure that your airspeed is right, that all the gauges are reading properly, that the compass is showing the right direction and all of that. But I've got to tell you, I take just 2 or 3 seconds when the wheels lift off the ground and the ground falls away, that you get just a little tingle. And after the thousands of takeoffs and landings that I've made over the last number of years, it's always there. It never changes. It's just as much fun.
An interest in flying can encompass everything from jumbo jets to four-seaters to remote-controlled modeled airplanes, and a love of flying can take many forms. Tonight we bring you a story about a dedicated group of people who meet every Saturday night to share their love of remote-controlled aircraft. PACTV Community News visited Plymouth Community Intermediate School on a recent Saturday night to bring you this story.
It's the first flight after my crash.
A lot of fun. It's you know, the technology is there these days, makes it nicer for all of us. All the improvements in the gyros that they have in these, more stability, and these little tiny batteries that we use in these, the LiPo batteries, they've come a long way. Lithium polymer batteries, these little tiny batteries pack a wallop.
What makes this hobby so great is that the camaraderie that we all have with each other and the willingness to help each other. So it's really a fantastic hobby, and we invite any of the local fields, any of the local Plymouthians to come and join us here in the gym or any one of the flying fields that we have around the area.
I hear like medical things as far as like people that are maybe susceptible to Alzheimer's or whatnot. Flying RC stuff helps fire all those neurons, you know, and then cleans out the pathways. It's like your plumbing wires in there, you know. It's like they fire so much that no gunk can build up in there. So it's got a lot of good, you know, attributes, the RC sport. Transmitters come a long way too. These are now the 2.4 gigahertz technology. They've got, these will fly more than a mile away. Oh, it is. I just, you know, I get bored, so I painted it because a lot of the guys have the same controllers. This is a DX7, and everybody's looks the same.
Take it out, right? There you go. Okay.
We have our throttle here and our rudder control here, and then we have this stick controls the pitch of whether it be an airplane or a helicopter. If you push this forward, it's going to pitch forward. If you pull back, it's going to pull back.
There are some helicopters that you can fly out of the box. They're what I call fun helicopters. The more challenging helicopters are something that you'd want to learn how to fly, and that's where getting in touch with your local hobby shop or one of the field members or somebody in the hobby can help you out. And once again, the camaraderie in this hobby is unmatched to any other hobby that I've ever been in.
To fly in here, you have to be a member of the organization called AMA, which stands for Academy of Model Aeronautics. It's been around since the 1930s. Good organization, but what that allows is us to fly in an organized fashion with rules and regulations so that everybody flies safely when we do get together.
Thanks for watching PACTV Community News. Replay times are listed at pactv.org. Click on the PCN logo to watch each complete edition or individual story.
And watch us on YouTube just by searching for PACTV Community News. Don't forget to like us on Facebook to receive previews each week with links to all of our stories.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week on PACTV Community News.